We've got the White Center here, so I want to start by, first of all, acknowledging, we want to encourage you to pass around this little flyer that's on your table. Because tonight, for the most part this afternoon, we're going to acknowledge some of the people that helped bring all this color to White Center. And we're going to hear a little bit from them, and we just want to acknowledge because they did a lot of volunteer work on behalf of our community to add color to White Center. The idea was to ask artists to come and express their art in places that were tagged and that we had graffiti problems. And a number of people stood up to the plate and said, yeah, they wanted to help White Center. And that's the story, is that page is part of the story. And it kind of got us on a path now where we're going to keep doing that kind of work. So first of all, the first White Center hero of 2012 is...
Michael Todd Harrison. For your support turning White Center into a public open art gallery welcoming people to White Center with art.
Come on up here, Mike. I just need to share a story. I got a call and an email from Michael saying, hey, I heard about you guys are thinking about doing a bunch of art at White Center. I'd be interested in that. And so I went to his website to see his artwork, and I spent way more time there than I had looking at all this great work he had done. And he agreed to come out, and the building that he worked on is owned by a property owner. It was really, the building was in disarray. It was one of the dirtiest, one of the worst buildings in the community. And it had been tagged a lot. And it had been repainted a lot, and it hadn't been kept up like it should have. And so we worked with the building owner, Mr. Harvey Rowe, and he turned out to be a very generous man and gave us permission to clean it up first. And then Michael stepped up to the plate and did his work there. And his building, his work is this one right here, in the third, right in the center of the left lower corner with the rainbow-like colors. And he and a partner did that. Michael, why don't you say a few words to the crowd?
Well, thank you very much, you guys. I really appreciate it. It's an honor, just the opportunity to work in the community. I'm an artist. I've lived in Seattle for 22 years. I just moved to White Center about a year ago. And almost immediately, I kind of grew to love the community. I don't really know why. I can't explain it necessarily. I grew up in a small town in the middle of Kansas. I think that has a little something to do with it. It just feels a little more real. People are more down to earth. Everybody's been really receptive to the mural project, and I just hope to bring my creativity and my energy and help kind of grow this, whatever this is we're doing here, and bring whatever I can.
And your work, and over here on the table, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your work?
So I do a lot of work now. I used to just paint, so now I work with mostly all recycled wood and recycled building materials. And that's kind of evolved from being out here too. There's just, as you guys probably know, there's an endless supply of wood and stuff laying around. And I figure if you can turn that into art rather than an eyesore or danger to you or whatever it is, you're flipping that energy around into something positive. I don't know where that's going, but I think that's what I bring to it. And I hope that so we can just continue to be done. So thank you.
And he's got a great website, michaeltoddharrison.com.
That's it.
And he's got much of his work on display.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. You were just such a trooper for helping, and you were so generous. You spent several days pulling that together.
It was really fun.
And I know that Harvey, the building owner, he just was nothing but smiles.
Yeah. Well, I know he was a little reluctant.
Yeah.
We brought him.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks so much,
Thank you very much.
Okay, and continuing on our acknowledgement of White Center heroes.
Xavier Lopez Jr.
Here we go. This is Xavier.
Good to see you again.
And again, for your support in turning White Center into a public art forum.
Awesome. Awesome. So, I don't know if you guys maybe.
Oh, here are the flyer that we have. Go ahead.
So I did the big Lions Club one with a lot of help from Jimmy over here what did you tell them what you're with?
Oh, the West Seattle Lions Club.
With the West Seattle Lions Club. Sorry, I get all nervous when I'm in front of people. But I wanted to say a few things about. And also we worked on the. I did have some of the figures, and a group of my artists, friends of mine, Alexandria Sandlin, Christopher J. Olson, and Reed Carpenter. We did we didn't finish it, but we were in the process of finishing it. The mural that's by Taco Bell.
On the south side of 107th, it had been painted and it was very damaged. And so we removed the material that was there, repainted it, and then gave him a clean, he and his crew of artists a clean slate.
And we had a great time. I feel like I should be singing, or maybe we should have a Pledge of Allegiance or something. So a couple of things I wanted to say. I write for the PI. I do the art and culture blog for Alternative Art. Run a gallery in Greenwood called Echo Echo. Please come by, support your local artists, and lots of other things. I do a lot of stuff, hopefully for the community and for other things. What I wanted to say, Mark asked me to speak a little bit about the idea of how art helps the community. And when I was a little kid, there was this book. I can't remember what it was. It was like a joke book, and there was this little boy leaning up against a wall. And one person would come up to him and they'd say, "Why are you leaning up against this wall?" And he'd say, "I'm holding the wall up." And then they'd walk away, they'd scratch their head, another person would come by and ask him. And he'd say the same thing each time. And one guy was like, this just really bothered him. He just could not get his head around, you can't possibly be holding this wall up. So, and this is kids' humor, so it's really simple. So he forces the kid to leave the wall, and suddenly the whole wall comes down. One of the things, so sort of my stock and trade is taking blank things, blank paper, blank walls, and trying to make them a little prettier. You guys are businesses, so I know you guys are really worried about the community and graffiti and how it affects your businesses. And I could go into that, but what I wanted to talk about was, I need to look at my notes real quick. Sorry. Was that basically paintings and artwork in the city, it cuts through all of the different parts of the city. Like everybody respects it. It cuts through like people of different economic backgrounds respect it. People from different cultural backgrounds respect it. It brings everyone together and it brings beauty to a city. Where was I going with that? Sorry. But what I think is one of the things that I think is wonderful about, say, the Lions Club mural, the mural that was done over at Harvey's walls, is that it's taking a chance on making a city beautiful, and also it's like sorry. It's I'm not good at this, as you can tell. It's investing in the community, and basically it's investing in the hope of making things better. And I think that that's one of the wonderful things that have been done by the Lions Club, by the Chamber, by all of you guys, is when you ask artists to come in and you ask artists to paint on your walls, it's taking a chance. Taking a chance on something that maybe isn't quite so obvious, but that I think ends up helping all of us. If you get a chance, I've got some artwork on the back, or in the back table, and you'll see my work ranges from like more realistic, like the Lions Club mural, to sort of pop surrealists and all sorts of places in between. Anyway, thanks.
And also, I'm pleasantly surprised as I drive around Seattle. I've driven around Seattle a few times over the last 6 months, and I've seen his work scattered around other murals in the city north of us. And so he's got his work all over. And it was just great that he stepped up to the plate. He organized all of those volunteers and said, we'll transform that south wall. And they've done it. And we've only been tagged twice, and one was a little tag, and we corrected the other. And we're going to, once we finish the rest of the art on the end, I'm sure it won't get tagged much.
But we haven't had any of the actual art tags.
Yeah, none of the art.
Labels.
People are respecting almost all of our work. And if you think about the work that you did where the Lions Club was, and in the front where the artist did the front of the Lions, or the front of the Harvey's other old building right over here on 17th, that was tagged all the time. It hasn't been tagged not once.
No, not once. Because everybody, that's what I was talking about. It respects, people respect it, people love it, and I was out there painting, honking all the time. And people would come up and they take photos with it. So it's a really good investment. It brings us all together. Yeah, I used to work with, do you know Ryan Henry Ward? He does the murals around in Seattle, in Wallingford and Fremont stuff. So I worked with that crew, with him, Starhead Boy and Narvu and stuff. And we did a big mural on Rainier, and that's been there for 2 years, and it's never been tagged.
There you go.
Knock on wood. So.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to accomplish. Well, thank you, Xavier, and thanks again for being part of our effort. For all your volunteer contribution. Now we'd like to introduce
Amanda Schmidt, the advisor for the Evergreen High School Arts Club, for your leadership and dedication through the Evergreen High School Arts Club, helping turn White Center into an open art gallery.
And before we begin, before we let Amanda, we have to, Ray, would you stand up? Ray Zombro was the treasurer of the White Center Chamber of Commerce for 10 years. And a thankless job. And when we talked about artwork, we kind of had a conversation over luncheon and said, well, I'm wondering if there are some kids over at the high school that would be willing to help out. And Ray, you could just see the light bulb went off in his head. And he ran. Amanda and the rest of it's history. So Ray, you kind of deserve this too, but you're a chamberman. And so Amanda, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I of course didn't do this alone. I have all my help. They're all getting awards. So it was a pleasure for me to work with a group of students who were so excited about their work. I will admit that some days when I'm teaching, I get grumpy because everybody's like, I'm just doing this to get a grade. Do I have a D yet? Blah, 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 blah. But these are all my A students. They're the kind of students that make you want to come to work every day. Because they come in with a smile and they say, what do we do next? And then they grab their paintbrush and their paint and whatever and they start to work. They don't complain and they're excited and they have ideas and they share them and they work together. Like there's this whole checklist of things I'm supposed to look for in my students and they pretty much check off on just about everyone. So I can't say how fun it was to work with all these kids. And we got to enjoy the beautiful weather too, because we began in April and finished in October with, of course, as you guys know, the best October weather ever. So it was a great way to spend some sunny afternoons. So our mural is designed and created by the students. I did not even remotely design it. I forced them to, because I wanted them to do the whole process from beginning to end. And as our President Robert says, well, it's the biggest mural, which is true.
100 feet long.
Yeah. And apparently Ray, I think, went and measured the McClendon's mural, just to be sure. It's still the biggest mural.
If you don't add that little bit on the end, which isn't really art, it's just blue. Evergreens is big.
Yeah, so anyway, it was really exciting. The kids had all sorts of cool ideas. We had young people, people of all different nationalities and ethnicities, because as you probably know, our community and our school reflects that. And we had to research costumes from different parts of the world, and that was really fun. And we included food from around the world, since we were painting on a grocery store. everybody loves food, so that was a pretty commonality kind of thing. And then the process itself, it was exciting for them to go from this little thing to this huge thing, and then from there, you know, it was just a lot of work. I think they learned, like, you have to be persistent, because they probably all wanted to stop at about May something or other. And I'm like, we gotta keep going, and in fact, you have to come back in September. So it just went on and on and on. But, you know, we kept motivated and kept going, and that was really great. One of the other things is, I think is it Xavier? Yeah, it was mentioning about the people coming by. That was, for me, just extremely special. I mean, I predicted that the kids would get excited and think it was fun and have all these new experiences, but I didn't expect how the community would become part of our project. Every day people came by, and sometimes the same person would come by every day to check on us, and comment and offer suggestions. Like, we made the hair longer on the one lady because this lady came by who was of Native American descent and said, that's the wrong hairdo for her. And so we changed the hairdo, which was awesome. I mean, talk about community, you know, it's in the speak, right? Like all the educational objectives. What are you doing to, you know, go work with your community? And I'm kind of like, well, what can I write down? But this was so authentic, so real. Interaction, advice, etc. So that was really cool, and you could see people light up, and they were people in wheelchairs, people, I mean, every age, everything. So that was so cool, and the kids would talk to those people. And so anyway, it was very special. The end was challenging because we had to actually finish it professionally, and that's something I think they learned a lot about. So anyway, I'm very proud of them, and it's been a really exciting experience for me as an educator as well. So thank you. I'm going to read their names so that they get pronounced right.
Okay.
But please come up to get your certificate.
Come on, all 5 of you.
So we have Kia Hang and Ben Hong. Kia and Ben. And then we have Gabriel Hilario. And we have Katya Nims. And Robert McIntyre. We also had Aries, but he graduated and is a student at the Evergreen College in Olympia, and so he's not here today.
These are the White Center heroes. These are great, extraordinary White Center heroes. We didn't realize how big this project was, and I ended up having to go every afternoon and take paint to them. And you know, sometimes I forget things. On occasion, once I forgot, and they let me know. We were here. You were here. What's that about? And I didn't miss any more after that. Well, Ray had to remind me a few times, but I didn't miss any more because basically they had made a commitment to do their great art for White Center.
And Mark is super cool too. Like, for some guy I've never met before, and he provided us with a movable painting studio, the likes of which I've never seen before. So thank you to his very, very dirty car.
Truck that's now colored, multicolored.
Yeah, somehow we managed to mix every color of paint we needed in the back of his truck and get paint everywhere, and it just worked. Low tech worked. So thank you, Mark.
Yeah, well, thank you. And the other thing I appreciated is one of the bus drivers who does the circuit made a comment that he was coming by every day and looking at the progress that they were making, and was just watching it and watching this thing unfold, and just would come by and wave and encourage the whole process. And I just thought, and that was one of many, many people that stopped by. And just, I can't, you know, Xavier, Michael, you guys are all right. Exactly right about what this does for a community, is it makes us feel good about ourselves, but it sends a message to everybody else that we feel good about ourselves. And so it just is, it's been I just never imagined when we embarked on this you know, CDA started the murals back years ago and did one every year. And then we saw how that one effort had such a transformation. Let's try it even more. And then we started by identifying all these places where graffiti was.
And I forgot to mention, there are people who talk to me about doing, like, they do art tours of the White Center now. You know, like they actually go and they, you know, go to each one, different stations.
Oh, wow. Well, we're supposed to write that up and put it on our website, so that's on our list.
Nice, nice.
So thank you all of you artists.